I think it's fair to say that if a cockbird has semen, then I can assume he's fertile. But from bird to bird, I've noticed some differences in the semen samples themselves. And so, while it's not critical to try and analyse the semen samples, I find it very interesting, and as you see shortly, I often do so. The first indicator of the quality of the semen is in the colour itself. In general, a less fertile sample tends to look relatively clear or like watered down lemon cordial, such as the sample shown in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. A good healthy sample is a milky colour and should fill about 10 to 30 millimeters into the tube. Now I've seen some samples which are a darker creamier colour or a latte colour. I've found that the birds with the milky or darker samples tend to be almost always the most fertile, with mobility lasting for up to an hour under a microscope. When analysed under a microscope, the two top samples, which are the milky and darker colours I mentioned, proved to be very fertile, and mobility lasted about 20 minutes. The bottom left-hand sample, which represents the latte colour, also proved to be very fertile, with mobility lasting almost 40 minutes. In comparison, the sample on the bottom right looks much lighter or clearer. It was taken from a lovely 5-year-old cockbird. By looking at it, I would have expected it to have been almost sterile. When I checked it under the microscope, I was amazed to see a few live sperm. There weren't many, but obviously enough, as this bird went on to fill an entire round on his own. So while mobility can last for quite a while under a microscope, the semen in the capillary tube can dry out within a few minutes. So I make sure I inseminate it as soon as possible after the collection. The mini microscope is used as a quick analysis tool for the semen sample. Once collected, I blow the semen onto the tip of the lens. I then place the lens back into the mini microscope and turn on the little light at the bottom for viewing. As I mentioned earlier, the mini microscope is limited to 50 times magnification, which is not powerful enough to see the sperm itself, but it does show if the sample is full and mobile. The greatest advantage of the mini microscope is that providing the lens was clean, the semen can be drawn back up into the capillary tube and inseminated into the hen. Therefore the sample isn't wasted. This is an example of the view provided by the mini microscope. If the sample is clear or sterile, the light from the microscope is visible as shown in the top of the screen. The bottom of the screen shows a fertile or full sample. When I'm actually viewing the sample under the mini microscope, I can clearly see little dots which are the sperm, and I can see if they're moving around or not, indicating fertility. The most accurate way to analyse a sample is under a power compound microscope. The sample is blown onto a glass slide and then placed on the mechanical stage to be viewed. I've fitted mine with an electronic camera which is linked back to my computer. The computer has a special package which allows me to enhance the view to a full screen where the individual sperm are clearly visible. It's far easier than trying to keep looking through a little eyepiece fitted at the end of the microscope. When viewed at 100 times magnification, the semen sample appears full and mobile. However, at 400 times magnification, the sperm themselves are clearly visible, and here they appear to be very strong and mobile. After 10 minutes, the sperm still look quite mobile, but the sample appears to be thinning out, which indicates that the sperm have started to die off. 20 minutes later, some sperm have started dying off, but there are still a good number of mobile sperm, which indicates to me that the sample was strong and healthy. But after 30 minutes, there are no live sperm noticeable. The greatest advantage of the power compound microscope is that an accurate analysis of the semen can be made, and I can find out if the bird is producing healthy strong sperm, and if he is fertile or not. Sometimes I find samples which are not mobile or dead, and some with abnormalities which render the bird sterile. These birds may have been affected by disease or heat. Even a slight increase in core body temperature can kill sperm. So I continue to monitor the bird's semen, as they often recover quickly, or in time the sample improves.